Alrighty, today is Wednesday, August 16th. I get my camera set up here, trying to protect the phone from the wind. That way you guys can actually hear what I'm trying to say. What a difference a day makes. Yesterday we did really well. We got all of our kings, plus even a bonus coho. Today they were biting weird. So let's start at the beginning. This morning it was super foggy. So even though I've been doing really well on Mexican hat these last few days, with that fog I usually like to run a painted blade, just a little bit more contrast, a little bit brighter. I kept 2 Mexican hats out, and then the other 4 were painted blades, and those painted blades did really well. They outfished Mexican hat. In fact, Mexican hat didn't even get a bite until probably 10 o'clock when the fog started to break. Those painted blades in blue tip rainbow, or that I call it the candy corn Yakima bait blade, that one was doing really well too. And then of course your old school Coast Guard red and white got a couple bites. So that was what program we ran this morning. They were biting okay this morning. We were landing fish, and then like when the fog lifted and the tide flipped, boy, they not only slowed down on the bite, even though they were everywhere on the graph. Gosh, we probably marked well over 1,000 fish today. There has to be well over 10,000 fish, maybe more, down here in the estuary right now. But I'm looking at probably 50, 80 boats right over here by the bridge, and 0 nets, not a net. And we're right at high slack. It should be going off right now, especially with the amount of fish that we're seeing down there. In fact, what I'll probably do is post up a video, just like as a YouTube short or a reel or something, that I took of my active target of like 50 fish swimming right next to all 6 rods and not getting a single bite. So it was a weird day. When the fog lifted, Mexican hat started getting bit, so switched over to that. And from then on, I think we landed maybe 1 fish out of 8-10 bites or more. They'd pull off 5 feet of line and then gone. We get the rod in hand, get a crank or 2 in, and gone. So it was just very early in the fight, right after the bite, that we lose these fish. So it just is telling me that they're just coming up and barely biting it. And I can see that in the active target too. They were just coming up and just barely messing with it. They'd flare on it. And by that I mean they'd come up, look at it and turn, look at it and turn. But they just really wouldn't come in and just charge and eat it. They would just kind of dink around, play with their food, so to speak. I did talk to a couple buddies that did okay on bait today. And these bigger tides, maybe it's going to start being a bait show. I'm fishing such warm water though, I'm having a hard time switching away from hardware. But I think tomorrow I'll probably put on a couple of Spinfish and fill them with fish nip tomorrow. I don't know, we'll see. Today kind of messed with my head just a little bit after such a good day yesterday, seeing all those fish on the graph. But you know, it's the same thing I told my customers today, is that if you're looking at 100 boats, I guarantee you every single color and bait and lure is being represented, and every depth of the water column is being covered. So I don't think we were doing anything wrong. These fish were just clicked off for some reason. It was weird. It was a weird day. It's still a fun day. I mean, beautiful weather. Finally got a little bit of wind to cool us down. That fog, I love fishing the fog, but be safe. What I always tell people is they never ever want to go faster than you want to hit something. That's true if you're not familiar with the area, looking out for sandbars, or even if you're driving through the fog too. So people were being pretty good here today. But I don't know, weird day, strange day. Tomorrow's a new one. So maybe what I'll do tomorrow is I'll get some gear together so I can show you guys some herring and anchovy rigs, and even some ways that I'm doing my fish nip. Because these bigger tides, might be fishing down towards buoy 10 a bit more, a little bit lower in the system, trying to hit those fish on the income. But oh man, that income is going to be later and later in the day. It's going to start getting pretty tough to hit that income. So I don't know, I'm going to think about it here a little bit tonight. Like I said, it messed with my head a touch here today. I'll figure it out. There's way too many fish here, way too many fish for us to not have more success, more action, more bites, more fish in the box. I think we ended up landing only 4 fish for maybe a dozen, 15 bites. So it was a bad hookup to land ratio day today, and a little bit slower bite for us. That low slack, we should have hammered them, and they wouldn't go. Would not go. Okay, well, think with that, I'm gonna go park the boat and think about what the heck I'm gonna do tomorrow. Take a look at some toys, do some arts and crafts, make a game plan. Here we go, another day in the books. Yeah, we'll get it figured out. Too many fish, too many fish. Okay, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Later.